Able to let me know when it is going. I don't see it going yet. And yes, it is. We are live. Welcome to another episode of Fooling Them. In fact, I need my Fooling Them background. This is my establish myself as an award-winning magician background. Not that anybody can really zoom in and see that they're authentic. For all you know, I 3D printed all this stuff. You don't know. I mean, this is about fooling people, right? At least this segment is. So maybe you're fooled. But I will change it now to the photo that I took when I was in the audience watching Ed Ripley's attempt to fool them. And that looked like this. Boom. I got to show Boris my new champagne trick. So let's see. Hopefully we're good. Everybody can hear okay. We're good to hear on the stream as well. Sound excellent. I just recently had the privilege of having Boris Wild from France on the Something Up My Sleeve show that we're doing for the International Brotherhood of Magicians. I had a pre-recorded segment, and even though I had over 2 hours to talk with Boris, that wasn't enough. I needed to bring him back, but actually to talk more about me. We talked a lot about Boris's representation on Fool Us and how well he did, but actually not that much about it. I want to talk more about it. Now he's going to help me prepare my act. So in this episode, I have a Grand Prix French champion, FISM winner, and Fool Us winner, among many other things. One of the most romantic magicians in magic, Boris Wild. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, really, for this, me even asking for more time.
No, it's a pleasure, my friend. Bonjour.
Which is like, really, again already? What have you already said? Is this season 3? What are you doing? I understand you were in my country.
I was in your country. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
what, last
stalking
week?
you.
Yeah,
Actually, I don't have time to
yeah,
stalk you,
indeed.
so I hired stalkers to stalk you. Yeah. I don't think you were that close to New Orleans, so I appreciate you not asking me to pick you up from the airport. Because that would have been,
No, I was, yeah, no, I was
yeah,
up
that would have been rough.
still in the south, but not as south.
Well, good news. I'm hoping to be able to visit you
Oh,
again, because it's looking like the festivals that I would do with Rumistal in France and Switzerland, it's looking
mhm.
like that's coming back, and we'll be, in that circuit again, and the jazz festival that I've told you about. So if that
Awesome.
happens, I'll be in your area. It's a lot easier to call someone, just even if they're in another country in Europe, and say, hey, I'm going to drop by, than here. Because if you tell me you're in Texas, that's the next state, but that could be a 3-day trip, like big deal. Good. Have fun, Boris. I'll see you next time.
Absolutely, yeah. That's true.
So, on your and for anybody who's watching this at any point or listening to it later on our very popular podcast,
Hmm.
please watch the Fool Us episode, Penn and Teller's Fool Us, with Boris, because otherwise, spoiler alert, if we talk about it, you won't know what we're talking about, or you'll find out that, spoiler alert, he actually succeeded in fooling them. So do yourself a favor and watch that. Boris, I wanted to ask, at what point did you think you would fool them, or was it always a question, or was there a point of confidence when you're like, okay, I got it down, this one's going to work?
Well, honestly, until the very last second, I had no idea. It's the performance I did was, if you haven't seen yet, it's about having like a deep fake voice for Penn, so we can hear Penn's spot in his voice as I'm performing, and so that was honestly that was the I would say that the little gimmick. I would say, like, this is the thing I wanted
Sure.
to add to the performance, so I wanted to surprise them first with that, and hopefully it would go well until the end. It went really well until the end. When I saw their reactions at the end, I was like, oh, okay. Well, not only apparently they enjoy the act, but it sounds like, it looks like that they were like a little, puzzled or like intrigued with the act. But it doesn't mean that, they can still figure out everything, because now we're talking with Alison after, and you may have seen that live. And most people, when you see when you watch an episode, you can see the performer talking with Alison during maybe a minute, but in fact, it lasts 10 minutes.
Right.
So, and like over
That's
the
rough.
last 10.
Kudos to her, because that means that each time she's finding 10 minutes of basically improv material to talk with a
Yep.
magician. Now, it's one thing when magicians talk to each other. You and I could chat for 3 hours about one card trick, but she's not a magician trying to,
Now
find these interesting things to ask a magician.
she's got
You
tons
know,
of questions, and of course they want to keep the most interesting answers. And like lots of people on the show are not English or American, so English is not their native language. So in case they don't really understand the question, or they misunderstand, how to answer, or for some reason, they just answer something completely, different, or something that's not interesting for TV. They need material, and at the same time, Penn and Teller are talking together, and of course they're trying to figure out things. And until that moment when Penn started talking, you have no idea. In my case, Penn asked me a question at the end, and that's something they do sometimes, not always, but until I hear it, until I heard it, like, hey, I have a question for you. I'm like, oh, okay, wow. All right, okay. So I'll
and
be
that was the one
prepared to
about
answer it, right?
squaring the deck. That was the
Yes,
question.
yeah, they wanted to know if the deck was fully square before he said the number, or was it before or after he said the number. And so I was not expecting questions like that, but the
I was trying to
producers,
figure out what moment I wanted to bring up, or like to actually show the footage of, and I remember that felt the most authentic to me. So as a viewer, let me see if I can find. I'm gonna pull that up and then see if I can find the moment. As a viewer, your reaction to that question, your face, to me seemed like not video file, seemed like the most authentic, and that's kind of what sold me on that. The truth of it was that moment. Share screen. Okay, so audio, yes, and we have this. Boom. So let's see. We have
here and just okay.
That's you and Allison.
So yeah, that's a little further.
And how we speak in code, and the way we think was just brilliant and original and beautiful and frighteningly close to what we really were thinking at those times. You could almost have passed it off as a mind reading act. Those are not just clipped things that I said before.
No, they were not.
Things I'm fairly certain
well,
I
in
never
a sense,
said. That is actually
but I'll
cloning
ask
my
you,
voice
after.
Now, we caught you on a few things we kind of sort of think.
So when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay.
I could remember, and I'm gonna trust you. I want an honest answer. Did you square up the deck before I said the number 3? Or did I say the number 3 and then you squared up the deck?
No, it was squared before you said the number.
It was fully squared when I said the number 3.
That looks so freaking confident. Like that there is no doubt that I completely, as a spectator, believe you at that point. That is the point that I know we're good. We're good. He's set because of the way you answered of like, yes, indeed. Like I will take it to my grave. I know for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very nervous because I had no idea which question was going to pop up like this, and I wanted to make sure I understood correctly, because again, English might be okay for me, but it's still not my native language, and so I didn't want to say something that could be understood in different ways, or I didn't want to be like totally honest because I had no idea. But then I understood the question perfectly. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if that's the question, I know how to answer. I know how to answer that, and there is no doubt. I mean, because of course, Mike Close knows, everything about the act that I perform, and he talked with Penn and Teller during the interview with Allison. So, yes, of course, obviously, I'm going to say the absolute truth because, of course. And so I was relieved, honestly. But he said, "Oh, we may have seen, we caught you maybe on a few things we think so, blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh, okay." Huh. But then when he asked the question, that moment I was like, "Okay, if he asked the question, it's usually a good sign, because if you say no, it was fully square before you said number 3." At that moment, I started to believe. But since after, he didn't say you fooled us, but they played my last voiceover when it was as a joke. I say, I think he fooled us. So I
right,
was
but so
a little
that
confused.
but that had to be. That what you didn't? They planned that. Like,
I mean, I didn't know that, but Mike Close, recently did a little interview, and he explained that, so it's no secret. So when Penn starts talking to the performer, they already know if the performer has fooled or not because they have been talking. And so that's also when when Alison does the interview, that's also when they start talking about codes, because like Penn say, hey, yeah, he talks about shell, and it doesn't say shells, but he say turtles, or he might not say mark my words if it's like a mark deck or something like that. So he's going to use codes, and he has to prepare them. I mean, even if it can come spontaneously to him, they have to, talk together to say, okay, if the performer didn't fool, how can we tell him or her that we have not been fooled by not exposing the method, or by not saying, oh yeah, you did a whatever, you did a black art or whatever. No, they have to say things in a way so moguls will not understand. And so so that's why they work on that, and that's beautiful. I mean, that's amazing, because they can find a way to explain to the performer that they might have found the method by just telling him a few things that no one understands except magicians. And of course, that's what they do. And I think that's what happened here. I'm not 100% sure, but they didn't play the last voiceover like this. I mean, it was
before. Some of those things, I'm fairly
certain. It was up there, it's playing in the background here. So yeah, and then so I think they just planned to say, hey, yeah, we're going to tell him he fooled us by playing the last voiceover that was just as a joke. But I heard it, and I'm like, why do they play the last voiceover? Oh my god! Okay, now I get.
Oh, because you didn't get by what he was saying. See, I thought this is what was through me, was I thought this was something you had prearranged with the staff of like, well, if I get it, it would be cool if you played that voice again. But then when he says to play it, I'm like, well, then now how does he know that? Because they have to have it ready. They can't just scramble and go, oh, what did he say? Somebody. So they had to have it ready. So I'm surprised to see that this is like a little bit of Penn's magic, thinking that this was more of this was like after the fact magic that you did. But wait, I'll play it. I have it right at that moment here.
Okay.
To say what you wanted to say. I think you fooled us.
No, I wasn't expecting that.
So it was a little bit confusing for you because
I heard the last voiceover and I was like,
why did they play it?
Why do they play it again? Oh, all right. Okay, I get it now. And it took me like a half a second. You can probably see on my face at the end. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's but it was a great idea. It was just a great idea to use that thing I used as a joke in the act to play it again, just to confirm the I fooled them. So that by not them saying it, but just using the voiceover. I mean, that was great.
So here's the similarity in what I think I'm preparing now. I've done, this is technically the 5th episode of my Fooling Them, and each one I've talked about basically a different act, and trying to figure out what's practical, what's going to work. So and the whole debate between, do I focus on presenting obviously it makes sense for me to the most entertaining act that I can do, the best way to get seen, but without playing the game, the issue is that if I don't appear that I'm actually at least going to try somewhere to fool them, then why even have me on the show? I might not even get to that part,
Well, to be honest, there are two different ways to go to prepare the show. And I've seen both, and I've talked to people, and I have friends who have decided to go to the show using one or the other. The first is I'm going to do my act. Like, for example, I have the Kiss act, my FISM act. And so I could decide and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make like a 5-minute version of my FISM act. I'm going to send the video. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's original because it's card magic. They're playing cards. It's to music. It's romantic. It's different. Blah blah blah. And I could have, I don't know. Maybe I could have been selected. Maybe not. But if I decide to do that, I know it's for performing my act on national TV in the US, to have great footage, to maybe have some wonderful, quotes, because Penn Teller are like, they always, tell about all the good things about the act at the end. Are very, they're kind and caring and everything, so which is great. But I know I'm not going to fool them. And I've talked to people who have decided to go and see the show, and I talked to them in Vegas before the performance, and they were like, zero chance I'm going to fool them. But it's okay. I mean, Vegas, I performed for Penn and Teller. It's going to be awesome. They're going probably to tell me like, very nice things about my act. And it's beautiful and it's great. And it's also a way just to showcase my work and just be in the show, because it's the best magic show in the world, honestly, today. And they are absolutely right. The second option is I'm going to play the game. Right. I'm going to go there. I'm going to try something sneaky, and I'm going to try to find a routine where I will include a little, some things, little details that, they may not catch, to hopefully fool them at the end. But whether you decide one option or the other option, there is one common thing that you always need to keep in mind. It's a TV show for lay people and not for magicians. So it has to be entertaining. It has to be fun, and it has to fit the TV requirements.
Right.
And that's, I think, was the most important. And honestly, for me, I would much prefer to see a performer with a great routine, fun, engaging, and just having a good time, and just of very good quality, and amazing. But in the end, I'll be like, okay, I know exactly how it works, but it doesn't matter. I just had such a good time. Rather than trying to fool them and forget what Penn and Teller Fool Us is, which is a TV show. And unfortunately, I saw some acts on that show, and I'm not going to mention any names here, but it was clear that they came to fool them, and they tried to be sneaky, but they just forgot one thing. They forgot to be entertaining, and they forgot to be fun and engaging, and they forgot it was a TV show for lay people. It doesn't mean the
Right.
performance was bad. It doesn't mean that they didn't deserve to be on the show. No, of course, yes, because the producers and the casting does a great job, selecting the best magicians to be on the show. But to me, it's having one goal in mind, which is I'm going to fool them, and I'm going to find anything I can, and I'm going to be sneaky, and yeah, you can do that, and of course it's great. But if you don't go further, and if you don't think, oh yeah, but still, everybody will see me on the national TV special here, and if I'm not engaging, entertaining, fun, or if it's boring, nobody will care. All these little sneaky things I put here and there just to try to fool them, and I'm not even sure I'm going to fool them in the end. So just be careful with that. That's probably the best advice I can give whenever you think of the material you want to bring to the show.
And which was essentially Sean's advice, as well, as I explained to him what my plans were for all this manipulation, then leading to something imaginary, where, like, we talked briefly about my forced imagination, but I was taking the premise of that routine and the fact that the most advice I've gotten is don't do a card trick. But then he dwindled it down, and pretty much what the idea is right now is it's all comedy and acting, but leading up to a climactic finish.
Mm-hmm.
But just in case, I'm realizing that if I can pull some moments from like my close-up act, the close-up competition, with the ring and stuff like that, and slip those in, because if they're up, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to pull them up close like you did. Then at least I know I've impressed them and kind of, engaged them along the way. So if you, and so that's the similarity. I feel that I'm trying to stay simple, keep the routine. And what was great about yours was everything was clean and simple.
That's
it wasn't
another
convoluted.
thing. Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to highlight also. It's a TV show again, so don't forget you're not going on stage to perform for a live audience. Like in the last 2 seasons, there were not even a live audience, unfortunately, because of COVID. But even if there isn't a live audience,
Right.
you're performing for TV. You're performing for 9 cameras, and you're performing for viewers at home that are doing the dishes, that are yelling at the kids, that are bringing the dog out and in and out, and of the home. And so they are like not focused, just like people all sitting in a theater facing the same way and looking at you. So if it's too convoluted or if it's too complicated, people will lose. I mean, they will get lost. So it has to be clear, it has to be simple. And if you do too many effects, or if you just you start with a ring and then you do a card and then you do coin, and but the coin on the back has the name of the card that has been chosen first, and it's like, I mean, honestly, I'm not sure it's going to be the best acts. It would give more work to Penn and Teller, but it doesn't mean you're going to fool them. And honestly, I know it's called Fool Us. Your show is fooling them. That's the goal indeed, but it's the icing on the cake. And the producers will tell you immediately. They'll be like, if you have been selected to perform on the show, you have already won. You're a winner. The trophy is a bonus. It's a great bonus. Don't get me wrong. It's a wonderful bonus, but it's a bonus. So the show is about Penn and Teller and the TV channel showcasing the best magicians in the world, showing something unique for the show. It's a TV show again, so there must be a hook. There must be a little suspense at the end. Will the guy or will the girl fool Penn and Teller? So we're like, oh my God, God, not this time. Oh yeah, So it's TV. I mean, that's why it's been designed. But they want just to showcase the best magic. So if you're there, you have already won. And that's why also I said, do your best possible and most entertaining and fun performance on TV, because being there is the most important. I mean, you're going to be there for like 5 minutes. So what is the most important? 5 minutes where you're on national TV and you can, glow and have fun and enjoy, or just this, last 10 seconds after when Penn says, yeah, you didn't fool us, or you fooled us. So that's something you need to consider and take into consideration.
I can see. I feel like it's becoming a very clean and decisive routine to a point, but there is in the back of my mind that idea that the whole end I'm building to, if they have it figured out, kind of pointless, even though I'm sure it'll be entertaining. But would it be, instead of just having one way I think I can kind of camouflage the situation is having a second card selected. And so I'm wondering if that's kind of what I'm going back and forth on. Is that going to make it too complicated, or is that exactly what I need to sort of take the heat off the one card? Doing a different effect, both with imaginary cards. So basically have Teller pick a card face up, like that way I can actually do what I was using in what I got from Danny Dorotese and what I was using in my Forced Imagination, which, by the way, I couldn't even find video on that. I have like one bad video of it. And I think mainly I was doing that for magicians. It became part of my lecture, and I was like, it's such a weird routine that I think it was more, I was using it more for the shock and awe of the fact that it was fooling and impressing magicians, and especially, the simplicity of it, not designed obviously to fool them too. But I don't know that I did it even that much for laymen, because I couldn't find like video to review. But using that idea, if the purpose of it isn't to find the card or what, it's not that kind of trick, because now it's a restoration, which isn't happening, right? Because I'm just pretending. So his card I rip up and then pretend to restore it, then have Penn sign his that I haven't looked at. That's actually nobody's seen because it's imaginary. But using that same principle to show the card to Allison, make sure they know what it is. So then if that card comes, all the focus should then be on the card I supposedly haven't seen, and that sign, and then that's the buildup. But then thinking that one's over and I'm still just messing around, if that card that Teller had showed up again, but in like folded, because I had supposedly ripped it in 4 pieces and then put it back together.
Okay.
Could that be maybe the extra, wild card that?
Okay, I get that. Yeah, well, the thing is that, as I said earlier, trying to keep it like very like simple, straight to the point is important. Second thing also is it needs to be scripted. I mean, like in my case,
Sure.
yes. I mean, once you're selected, you are going to work on the script with the producer, and that script must be like very tight. And it's important unless you have a routine with multiple outs and stuff like that, which of course is different. But if not, you really have to keep like straight to the point. And my close also is wonderful. It's going just to help you again if you're selected to I would say tailor your routine and making like maybe a little shorter if needed, but again try to get rid of all these little things that are not necessary or that just doesn't fit TV. Because again, that's something that needs to work well for TV. If you have something visual, yeah, that's perfect. Like if you could have something with an invisible card or things that they can do like a big close-up shot on it, that's perfect. And so that's the kind
So
of thing you need to think about also when you put the routine together.
and what you had going, because like let's say they'd probably, the people on the other end of your video, I'm sure already knew who you were, which is an advantage, so that they're gonna be more patient. But if you say didn't have the voices, that gimmick going on, that entertaining factor that people don't realize that magic hasn't happened, not you didn't do like one trick after the other. Without that, it may have been difficult to go through that whole process of building to your end.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
because the
so,
voice is part of the method, honestly, and so far I've just, millions of people, not millions, thousands of people have just reached out to me to say, hey, will you release that? Will you describe? Is it somewhere? How do you do that, etc.? And or will you do it again? And people ask me to perform the act again, and I'm like, I can't, because I need to have Penn and Teller at the table, because it's I require. I mean, it's necessary that I have Penn's voice here. It cannot be any other voice,
yeah, it would
and
make
and
sense.
and there need to be a voice because the voice is part of the method. And I'm not going to tell more about it, but it's part of it. And so that's why, yeah, it was. I
But you
needed
haven't
to
given,
integrate that.
did you give anybody permission to reveal it, or they're just on their own thinking they have it? Because there's some videos up, and it's
No,
not you revealing it, obviously.
no, of course, no, and it's all wrong, which is
Yeah,
very
one
funny.
of them
That's
I
why I
saw, the
leave that
first
online.
comment was like, "Well, you're wrong. That's interesting,
No,
but
no,
that's not
no.
how I."
It's the comment section. I mean, I don't know many thousands of comments I have on my YouTube video now, which is very funny. And like, I have not seen so far somebody who just nailed it. So it's just Some people were like, oh, I think it did that and this and that and that. So I don't like that portions of solutions here and there, but no. And so I'm not going. My close knows. He's the only one. I mean, two people in the world knows. It's my close and myself. But other than that, that's how it works. You need to reveal everything to my close, and then he's going to talk with Penn and Teller during your performance, and they will decide together whether if you have fold or not. And again, it's something important. It doesn't need to be like the entire act, or it doesn't need to be like the whole routine. Like a good example is Christian Engblom. Love Christian Engblom. He's a wonderful, clever magician from Finland, one of my good friends. And when he performed, they caught him on everything but one thing. There was one thing that was like, we have no idea how you control the card. They had no idea. The rest they could follow, but there was one thing they had no idea how he controlled that card. And he got the trophy, and he fooled. Even if they caught things, there was this one thing that they had no idea, and they thought it was enough and important enough. And in the balance, it was one of the things that were the most important in the routine. And if they didn't get that, then it was, it deserved the trophy. So yeah, so that's another thing. It's not about like having an act where they're like, oh my God, I have no clue. I mean, they're Penn and Teller. They know most of the stuff we do. But if there is at least one thing which they think it's not a detail, but just like a very important phase of the routine, and if they don't catch it, the rest is, is not as important, then they give the trophy. So so that's another thing also to take into account when you
Now we
work
talked
on
about before me how like I'm afraid of tech and it's more things to go wrong. I audio wise, if I go this route, I want to what would be the best way to do it. Here's what the idea that because I'm going to start doing imaginary stuff. There's a imaginary table,
Mm-hmm.
and on that is sitting an imaginary deck of cards and an
Mm-hmm.
imaginary wine glass. And I want to hear the
Yeah, of course you can do that.
But I mean it's kind of a timing thing of like it needs to be right when that happens. And then I thought, well, it'd be cool to have other sounds along the way as I'm doing things.
Michael, I'm going to tell you something that you will freak out. I know you will freak out because every time I tell it, and now I'm talking about this in my new lecture because I talk about fullers. I got so many questions that I decided to make a section in my new lecture on fullers. And every time I say that, people are like, "What the hell? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?" In my act, I have, I think, 13 voiceovers, and
you're controlling them from there.
No, I mean the smart thing would have been someone who knows my act by heart, just push the button every time because he knows exactly when to play them, and I take him or her with me in Vegas, and he's there up there, with all the tech guys at the sound, and he is there, and he's just and he has the right to touch the button because he's my helper, and boom 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 boom, he plays play.
I would have figured that's what happened.
No, I came with a USB flash drive by myself, and I said, there you go, 13 voiceovers in 5 minutes. I mean, that, considering things can happen live, and
like if the improv or all of a sudden something funny happens, like what?
I know I had a script.
All right, that's the crazy part. That makes you really brave.
I just did my script word by word because I know if I change one word, they might be confused and they might be like, what is it now? Or he didn't say, because of course they had the script in front of them, in the sound thing, and they would follow and then play. So I know if I keep the script perfect, that would be no issue. But which means that I also need to, whatever happens, and whatever happened in the act, and if the act requires some moving some stuff here and there because of the method or anything, but no, I didn't do that. So I just trust them. I said they're professional, it's a TV crew, they know what to do. So, and I did my first rehearsal, they hit everything perfectly, and I was like, great, perfect. So if I did that, and if you have like a couple of like a few sound effects that you need to play, you don't have to worry. Honestly, they are super professional, and I basically put my life in their hands when I did that, because anything could have happened. Nope, they did it. So I don't have to worry about that. If you have someone with you, perfect.
Well, for a sound effect, I mean, that timing has to be on point. I mean, I could see, I don't think I could ever time it without, I could see a music act where you time the choreography and everything, but timing to voiceover, because I've tried that for other things where like I had nobody to help me audition, so I read the other lines and I thought I timed it out right, and now I'm talking over myself. I could never get, it was like so frustrating, and that didn't involve props, that didn't involve other people improving. Wow, that I don't really like the death-defying acts, the dangerous ones, but I think now you're at the top of the list of the most dangerous acts done on Penn and Teller. Jeez, it looks so simple and smooth, and I'm like, oh my god, that is crazy. That's
well, that was my biggest fear also, because when I started to rehearse the act, I thought it was not a good idea. I thought it was a good idea to have this voiceover during the act. So every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to fix it. Oh, he thought, okay, you think I'm doing this? No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, you think I'm in? No, I didn't do it. So just to destroy every single possibilities, every single method. So in the end, they're like, shoot. Oh, okay. So if he hasn't done any of that, how? Or he pretended at some point that he didn't do that, but he still did it. But where? When? So, and then it's too confusing, or it's just too many, like 13 voiceovers. So, and then they were like, okay, no idea. So that was pretty much what I had in mind first. But when I started to rehearse, I was doing my thing, and then I was basically, this voiceover was cutting, my voice, or was cutting my rhythm, and then there was a boom, 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 and then I was going again, and boom, 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 and back again, back, and it was not smooth. It was just like, chung, chung, chung. I talk, he talk, I talk, he talk, I talk, he talk. So, and I was like, oh, shoot, that will never work, because it's not, there's no flow. It's just like a voiceover and my voice adding to each other, like for like 5 minutes. So I had to work a lot on how to make it smooth, so it becomes like a conversation with someone who's not even talking to me, because it's just a voiceover. And I needed to find the right rhythm for that, so it doesn't look awkward. So that's another thing that was not easy to work on. And again, you mentioned that you may bring them to the table, so you wouldn't have this problem. But in my case, as you know, if you do close up, most of the time they are in front of you, so you can decide which table you want. They have like all kinds of tables and chairs, and it's amazing. You can really decide whatever you want. And so they have everything you can imagine. You got like a little notepad.
Well, that's why also the sound,
crazy.
like for their experience, for the audience, it doesn't matter, but for their experience, if they're up close, if I can make it so that it really sounds like the sound is coming from here, from this area, not, then that's what I'm going for. If there's a way,
that's what
like I thought of even riffling the imaginary deck, and you hear the, and just things like that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do also with Penn's voice, because I wanted to make sure that they can, feel they were like at the table, and they were like, did you, like, I wanted like at some point, like Taylor being like, like, did you talk? It's like, no, I mean, it's there. So, but my issue was, like, usually they are in front of you when you perform at the table, and I couldn't do that because the voiceover was like, Penn's voice was so realistic that, everybody in the audience, and even if the camera was behind them at that moment, you would not know if it was Penn actually talking or if it was a voiceover. So, and nobody would just see their reactions in the audience. So that's why I put them next to me. So now we can hear Penn's talking, but we can see he's not moving his lips, and he's not talking. In fact, that's not him. So you can be like, oh, wow. And at the same time, you can also see their face reacting to the voices. But having them at the table already, believe me, it's very stressful. So that's something you really need to think about first, because lots of magicians like either take Allison or helpers from the audience. Now it's virtual audience, but they still have helpers to come on stage to help you. But having the two at the table is way different than when they are at their seats. And especially in my case, where they were here for like angles and everything, it was.
And so I'm picturing actually having them, all three of them, sitting like they're at a table, but of course I'm the only one that sees the tape. There is no table.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you use the invisible table, in that case, yes. I mean, you can
imaginary.
You can decide how you want to, set or stage everything. It will also depend on the camera. I told you there's 9 cameras, so it will also depend on the cameras. They will guide you, and they will tell you exactly where you can, sit, so it looks good on TV, and it's important for you also for the act. In terms of like angles and reactions, I think Penn and Taylor, of course. But bring them on stage is super, super nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's really rewarding, because you're gonna get great footage with you on stage, and they don't look at monitors, or they don't look at screens. They look at you live, so it can be, sometimes they would catch maybe less things on the screen than live. But they are smart, so they don't need to catch you. They know, if they see something or if they have any doubt, they know what you're going to do. But if you're live with them and they watch you and they look at you and they burn your hands and everything, if you do your job well, it's going to be even better, I think.
Offhand, or if you think of some later, I'm trying to think of a brilliant way to just make the deck of cards appear, because if the end is, if like anything up until that point, I can choose my best stuff, and it won't matter, because that's not the main effect. but I would guess they're expecting, if everything's imaginary, that at some point we're going to see a reveal. And so, you know, I would love for that moment to be like, and there's the cards. Not, well, we knew the cards were coming, and obviously it came out of, you know, even if that's not what fools them, if they're not sure. My thought right now is to use my hat. And that if I make the, you know, do the ring, knock out the ball bearing, that part from my close-up routine. And if I have like a setup of these ball bearings, if I can do the last one where there now should be the time to pull out the cards. But what I do is, wait, where's my, I had the ball. Oh, I have another one. Hold on. Sorry.
Sure.
Now, you know, I'm not wearing pants, but I didn't know I was going to need them. I have them. They're right here.
I'm wearing pants. So why? Oh, damn it. If I knew.
If I may say something to the effect of and believe it or not, right here in the hat, and then not pull out cards, a ball bearing, I can show nothing in the hat. See, that's not a good angle.
Yeah,
a ball bearing, and then actually, like, I was practicing a move where I do here, and then like I can hold it with this hand. I can hold it down, and they're sitting here, so it should be, you know. But I hear it; it fits in there, and then drop the hand as I drop the ball bearing, and that sound, you know, which goes straight through the table. I was thinking actually saying that, like, the first two went through the table, and I'm confused by it. So the ball, it goes through the table. That's so weird that goes to the table, but the cards can just sit right on it, and then just basically pick it up like it's been there, sitting there the whole time.
Get that.
After the distraction of the ball. And I feel like for anyone else, that's perfect. If I can get them to not expect cards for just a second, then, you know, maybe that will look cool.
Well, the key is to be able to surprise them. So they might, they have seen everything. They've worked on so much. And they are like encyclopedia of magic. So it's hard to find something where they won't catch you on anything. But at the same time, you can surprise them, or they can expect something from you. But if you just produce it, or if you do it in a way that is unexpected, that's the thing. So they might expect there will be a deck of cards appearing at some point. But if you can find a method or a way to do it at a moment they didn't expect it, or in a way they didn't expect it, or in a way which is like, you know, like you said here, it's like, oh, I don't know why it's been sitting on the table the entire time. And you're going to get a laugh because that's fun. And they'll be like, oh, wow, okay, that's clever. I mean, you know, it's you still surprise them in a way that you just produce it, not maybe in the actual way that they may
I think
have,
I can pull that off, but I'm
open
to other ideas. And I'll probably be dressed like this. So I'll have, if I can keep my vest closed, I think that's even better. But if I might need to have it open depending on what I want to pull off. But but you know, sleeves up and everything. And all right, I'm going to show you what I think is going to be the highlight, which is not magic. It's a joke.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to pull this off. But of course I can, if I make the second prop appear, that's even better. So the only people to get this joke ahead of time of me going on the show is Boris Wild, Abel, Woody, Wimpress, Biaco, who has showed up in the chat. Everybody else has to wait for this joke unless I say it again on another section. All right. So he's going to sign the card, right? Oh my gosh. It's a green one. It's freaking invisible because of the chroma. Let me grab this one. That's wild. Oh, I wish I could use that magic. Where the
for the invisible deck, and then
I so want to do this. Check it out, Boris, for being here today. I'm going to give you a champagne bottle with my face on it. How about that? The Michael Dardon champagne. You like that? So that happened. That totally happened accidentally. Okay, but check this out. This is very, very possible. And Abel, I need Nellie's help with this. I could set it up where this isn't set up now. I can't do this trick now, but I could set up where I say, Boris, name a celebrity. And then like within seconds, pull this over, and instead of my face, I say, "Oh, and there's Samuel L. Jackson's new line of champagne."
Okay.
Like that's I want to do that on something up my sleeve because people can figure it out, but that's still pretty awesome, especially if it can be that fast, you know.
Yeah,
So
it has to be quick. I mean, if we can see you like typing like Samuel L. Jackson, okay, Google images, okay, good.
right,
Background,
yeah.
Maybe
pull
not.
it off to the side. So here's the joke. So if I had the pen, and I'm hoping that if it's nobody should see this coming, but then I say something to the effect of, "You've heard all the pen puns," so I'm hoping that you haven't heard this one, and then da 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 da, and then have Allison say Allison, have her say it so that the audience is clear. So you say it.
Penn Nutella. Oh my God. I don't know if you have the right to show brands on TV. You know, they might ask you to be like to cover it with Scotch tape, black Scotch tape, and then you're screwed. They're like pen and black tape.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation. I'm pretty sure I've seen other like brand products, and I think that may have changed over the years. But I guess we'll find out. I mean,
you can't. I mean, I can tell you cannot.
Oh, really?
No, you cannot. No, because if you have like any like if you have a little a pin, like a little something, or a T-shirt with a brand or anything, they will. Now I remember the contract. They say is no. They say like no visual, like no.
Well, what if you wanted to do? What if you wanted to do like the healing Coke can or something like that?
Well, I'm pretty sure there you can find a way to do it this way. I mean, it's like if you do like a Coke bottle, Coke can, it's still recognizable. You might still have to cover just the word or something. But for Nutella jar, I mean, if you play expressively, I mean, on the word Nutella, yeah, the Coke it's just a can. So, but I mean, it's fun. I mean, pen Nutella, yeah, that'd be fun. But I'm not sure you would be able to. I'm not sure you'll be able to show Nutella on TV. So, yeah, I see that being an issue. Yes, I'm from what I remember, yes. I mean, I don't have it here because it's late. It's not like the jacket where I perform or anything, but and I'm not performing here, so I don't have my 4F pin. Otherwise, I would have paid $5. I know, but
yeah, to me.
But yeah, exactly. But even on TV, I remember I think Sean and maybe other guys had the 4F pin. And I didn't even take a chance. I didn't have mine on this because when I read the contract and they says no, no thing, no this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to play that because I don't want them to like to blur anything later. Or I was like, maybe in the past, people could wear their 4F pin and they realize, oh my God, why so many people have the same pin? And they just figure out, oh yeah, that's okay. Maybe we should not show that again. I was not sure, so I didn't take any risks. So I didn't wear it.
Well, that sucks if I can't do the Nutella joke because I was really stoked about that.
I think Nutella will be a serious issue because that would be considered as advertising.
Well, I guess I can do it in the audition video and then say like, I realize this joke might get cut, but so it might be my last chance to use it.
Yeah, it would be cut. I mean, that's pretty much all. It won't be cut. They would just be like, hey, yes, let's work on the script with you, but just don't do it.
Or we could know ahead of time that's edited out. Maybe I could get away with it just for the live audience, but then they know that doesn't go on the final cut.
Yeah, well,
that's gonna be if they know ahead of time
to them. Yeah, or and if they just like when they swear, sometimes Penn swear or some contestants swear.
Yeah.
Or in my case, in my one of my voiceover, they beeped the last voiceover, but they beep it later.
What about blurring it out?
Yeah, but if you blur this, and you cannot even say Penn Nutella, and so that's the problem. It's going to be like visual and sound, so it has to show Nutella, and then you say Nutella, so we understand that. Oh yeah, Nutella, Penn and Nutella. Oh yeah, we get it. But if you blur the brand and you say it, nobody will what? And if they just beep you, or if put the fullest logo on your mouth at that moment because they don't want you to say the brand, It's not. I
No,
honestly, I would
no, the
not. I
joke's
would not.
dead.
Yeah, I would not. I would not play with that. I would just.
Oh,
I would just get rid of it. Honestly, if I were you, I would get rid
makes
of
me
it
laugh
because
so
that's.
hard.
I know, but it's honestly there's 1%, not even 1%. I think this is one less than 1% chance that you're gonna get through it, and then it's gonna air on TV. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking how maybe they're risk takers. I would have thought you being much more safe, but you took a huge risk with your audio tracks. But wow.
Yeah, and in the last one, I had like the F word 3 times, and they beeped it, of course. But live, the audience heard it because I didn't want to beep. I could have beeped the last voiceover. I mean, not the last one, but almost the last one, where they say, yeah, I don't remember exactly the script, but yes, and that French guy didn't use any magician shows, and my is really any number. So, and my number is really number. So I could have beeped, the voiceover, but then I asked them, and they were like, no, just leave the F word because that's going to make them laugh like crazy. The audience is an adult audience, so it's fine. And we're going to beep them later at editing. And I'm like, yeah, I would much prefer that because, whenever Penn, swear and he says you are, he's really saying it. And then it's only later that they just put the logo in front of his mouth. But we all know, of course, that's the funny thing for me as a French magician or as a French viewer to watch American shows, having to bleep or just to hide the mouth of the person saying the F word because we all know what they say at this moment. So come on, that's just.
I know. I can't get over every time I visit how much the kids in France, like little kids, just walk around cursing. Like for me, it's no big deal. The words are meaningless now. Merde.
Yeah.
Who cares? But when I was growing, like when I was that age in France, I couldn't say that. Like things have changed. I couldn't have walked around saying "putain de merde." Well, not that they say it that way. Maybe that's extreme. That would probably still be considered extreme. But
yeah, no, my daughter, she's 17 and she still doesn't say it, at least in front of me, which is okay. But I mean, it's a little different over here. You can watch TV, on prime time, 9 p.m. and see, breasts and nudity and cursing and stuff, and like everybody is just looking like, like, we've been seeing that and hearing that for like years and years since we were young. So
I hurt my back at a nude beach. No, I'm just kidding. It was just a regular beach, and I don't even know why, but it sounds crazy that's how I hurt. Like the first, I threw my back out while I was in France. That I don't remember which trip where I had, I think it was on the whole FISM trip because I had like 5 suitcases with me. It was ridiculous. And it wasn't doing anything strenuous. We literally were at the beach all day. And then I go to put some stuff in the car. And when I leaned over, then all of a sudden, and I was just, my back just ripped for no reason. What is going on? That was the first. That was before I changed my hair. That was the first sign I was getting old. But yeah, that's actually sounds funnier to say it happened at a nude beach, but that wasn't the case. So I told Abel, I was like, I've already taken his time. I'm not going to keep him longer than an hour as long as I can pick your brain. Plus, I know I need to get to work and then maybe show you something a little more polished. But
yeah, sure, of course, we still have a few more minutes if you want, or if you have any other.
Well, I was going to say if there's anything. My question would be if there's any, because I'm reviewing, even when I can't bring, this is obviously awesome when I can review someone's act with the person, especially somebody who has actually fooled them. But I will review acts of other people and some I may not know to even get in touch with. But is there any that I should write down that make sure I see? Because there's a lot of episodes I haven't seen. Is there any that stand out in your mind? Like we watched Mario Lopez yesterday. With this,
yes, Mario Lopez is yes, it's a special case, I would say, and it was a little different for him, considering his fullest adventures in the past. So
wait a minute, that wasn't his first time then.
Well, I don't think it's a secret, so I hope I'm not,
No. Well, we're just trying to. Eric and I were trying to guess. Like, we assumed that one was the first one, but then I thought I remembered him doing the cigarette routine.
Yeah, exactly. So he performed the cigarette routine, I think, like 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe 2 years ago, can't remember. Or like 2 or 3 years before, he did this. He did his routine with the salt pour and the nipple. And the issue is at the end, like they were like, the channel was like, we can't really, put that on TV because he's just like, smoking and then cigarettes and everything. And so he couldn't, his segment was not aired on the show because he was using cigarettes.
Oh, well
So
then,
they invited him
why do
back.
I think you mean they took it down or they never put it up? Because in my mind, I feel like I saw this.
No. It was never on the show. I mean, you may have seen it because you may have seen it at convention, at FISM or somewhere, because he's been around for a little while now. But no, we have never
I've
seen
seen
the
him
cigarette act
live, but
on the show.
I feel like
Nope.
I feel like I had an image
No.
of him.
So, which is too bad, honestly. But again,
Oh yeah,
I'm glad he went back. He did the soul pour, the nipple, and again here it was the main act was about the soul pour, and he just did the nipple at the beginning, just as a for fun. And in the end, that's what Penn and Taylor were like, what the hell was that? I mean,
right.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
And they basically, got fooled with the nipple.
That was that's what my takeaway, and which makes a lot of sense when you know what video I'm referring to is in my act. I want to show more nipple.
Oh, okay. Well, that's you're from New Orleans. You have French descendants, so I'm not blaming you for that anyway. But if you cannot show Nutella, I'm not sure you can.
I want little unexpected moments that will catch them off guard in case the big moment doesn't, actually.
Okay. Or you should cover the nipples with Nutella, and in that case, that would work. But you don't say it's Nutella.
Nutella
and they
manipulation.
They don't see the nipples, so you're fine. You're good. You're good to go. I don't know if it's the best advice I've ever given you here, but it's a French one for sure.
Wow. So if any of them, others come to mind that I check out, and if you think of it later, just like let me know.
Yeah, I mean there are so many. Yeah, so there are really some really great acts. I mean, there's no one like right now that comes to the top of my mind, but I need to check a list. I mean, if I go on Wikipedia and be like, oh my god, yes,
okay,
that was awesome.
Let us know. For now, if we can put Hazelnut Pasties, that was my stage name on Bourbon Street. Not too late. Yeah, I can't believe they remember that. Hazelnut Pasties.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to put, if we can put Boris's website up in the chat for anyone who might like that link, and keep track of Boris, all his social media. And hopefully we'll see each other in person soon. But I so appreciate your time. I have a lot of work to do and very little time to do it, to get the video off, but I'm going to get it done. I won't let you down.
No, and yes, same thing for you, my friend. And
wait,
I forgot. I've said tonight. Yeah,
do I have permission to impersonate you? Because part of the idea behind the invisible cards is that I'm pretending to find it, but as a different saying, basically like if Shin Lim were here, he would find it like this. And if I can do it, have smoke come out of my mouth, but pull nothing out of it, but the smoke is, and then like basically an excuse to just throw in my French accent is I could just count the cards if I were Boris, and then you already know I do a very easy Sean impression, so I can figure out, I can like act like I'm flipping the card out kind of thing.
You have to do Sean Farquhar. I mean, if you can include your some like previous performers or foolers or magicians that appeared on Foolers in your performance, and you just can impersonate them, or that's gonna be fun. I know I'm gonna get an email just to get a permission to say, hey, that guy is talking about you. So I'm going to say yes. Don't worry about that. But the other thing I may not have mentioned earlier, and maybe it's a good way to finish the thing is if you do a show like Fool Us, one of the best things to be selected, and I think to have a really good performance on the show, is to work something specifically for them. And when I said earlier, you have two options. You can. I started by our conversation with that. I said, hey, you can either do your act, like your FISM act, competition act, or you can do something like special for the show and play the game. If you can go one step even further, which is I'm going to play the game, but I'm going to try to find something that fits the show. In my case, I said, okay, I'm going to use Penn's voice.
You already cut it. That's my best joke, and you just cut.
I know, but it's
already.
No, but I mean, yes, of course, but if you were working for Nutella, maybe that would work, but I don't know. But I mean, if you go one step further by just like in my case, I play with the codes when they use codes to talk, and that's why at the beginning they say, the Egyptian pharaohs. So it's great if you perform something and they realize, oh, he really worked hard for us, and it's something that can only be performed on the show. I mean, you cannot perform that on any other show. So like here, if you make references to like previous Foolers, if you play with Penn and Teller, and maybe not Nutella but something else, I don't know. But if you can do something that really fits the show, and the producers realize that yes, you put all the work just for them, and just for the show, and people when they watch it, they'll be like, oh, we could have never seen that act anywhere else but on Penn and Teller Foolers. Because of the act itself, the structure, the presentation, the fun, and everything you play with. If you can do that, I think you already won. You're really one step ahead. I mean, because they have to make choices. They have to pick only like 52 or 56, 60 magicians per season. So depending, 13, 14 episodes, and they always have few extras. So that's not so many. It's a few dozens compared to like hundreds, if not thousands, of videos they receive. So
who was on that? Do you remember who was? I know they may not have been on the same show as you or same episode, but who was actually filmed the same day as you?
The same day as me, there was Garrett Thomas.
Oh yeah.
There was the Japanese. I mean, it's that the day we performed, somebody in the audience was from the production, or someone were like, it's one of the best day of filming we've ever had, because DK from North Korea was also there. He didn't fool, but I think it's such a wonderful, brilliant act. I love DK. Yuki from Japan also was on the show with me.
Oh,
I was there.
Her cups and balls. Was it the routine that we
Yuki? No, Yuki. I think it's is it Fujiyama? Sorry, my friend. I mean, it's a Japanese name, and it's real hard for me as French to remember. But he's doing it's a stage act where there's a glass, and he makes things like appear. He makes cards appear in a glass, disappear like super flash, super visually, and it's beautiful. It's such he fooled. Garrett Thomas was also there with the ring. So I think we're like the four. It was just.
Oh, I need to watch that one. Garrett did ring stuff, so I make sure I do something different.
Yeah, and so they were like all the same day, and so that was a pretty intense session. And of course, after that, they just put all of us in different episodes, just because they didn't want to like too many card tricks in one same episode, or 2 or 3 or 4 folders in the same episode. They usually have one, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. So that's how they did it. But that's another thing also, which is just fun, because you never know who you're going to be with. And
that's cool. So I'm not going to tell the whole story now, because I don't want to reveal anything I may know about an act or not know, but I'll have to tell you later the interesting story about when I was downstairs waiting for Ed to be on the show. And I was downstairs in, I guess, the green room area. And one of the performers who was on with Ed that day he and I were the only ones in the room. And unless everything he told me was part of the plan to just be misleading, then I may be the only person that knows what really happened in that show, because nobody else was in the room with us downstairs. And then I saw the result. So yeah, I don't want to say it, because then people can go back and watch, and they'll, I don't want to reveal anything. So I won't even say his name, but I'll tell you his name, even though it doesn't reveal what I know about the act.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what, a perspective of what happened.
And even if they watch the episode where Ed was, because they just put all the acts.
Yeah, I don't even know what episode he was on. They do put it out of order. And so probably has to do with splitting up card tricks. They probably try to split up all the card tricks. Like, oh, we got 60 card tricks.
and 2 other ones. Okay, let's put.
Yeah, and 2 other, and one guy's doing a ring. Okay, good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I can't wait to get to the point that I can give you an update and be more excited that I've got it smooth. So that's the hope. And, I'll let you know. I haven't heard back from them about I just said I'm going to send something off. So the fact that they didn't say, oh, don't bother, I guess that's a good sign. Like, I was worried that they already have their 60 or whatever. And, I might have to wait another 7 years.
No, you have no. It's fine. I mean, until the deadline. No, I mean, I helped one of the contestants from the last season, and I think she sent her link for the video. I think the last day or the day before the deadline. So until the last minute, they're going to get and they're going to watch everything. So she did. Yeah, I think she sent it on the last day, and she got selected and performed and fooled. So
cool. Which one is that?
So, it's Amanda Nepo.
Okay, I haven't watched that one either.
Amanda Nepo, she's on the the latest season, and she did a great job. Wonderful. She's a 16-year-old girl, and she worked really hard on her act. And very proud that she managed to get there and fool Penn and Teller. So
cool.
If you want to watch an act also that I helped a little bit with, and
nice.
You can watch Amanda.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna have to find another channel to raise. While I'm doing that, I'll put her video on. But first, I'll let you go. So you can probably have dinner. I don't know, what time you French people eat, but
no,
yeah.
It's 11 p.m. So we're not Spanish.
Oh, wow.
I already had dinner.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend, and can't wait to see you in person. We'll definitely get together at a convention soon. But round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, world champion of Magic, Boris Wild. Man, it was getting wild up in here. I have the video pulled up, so if you guys have another few minutes, I'd love to see what she's offering here. And it's nice to see a different perspective because, people always think of Magic as a men's trade, but that is changing rapidly as we have more and more talented performers. It kind of was before, that. So I'm going to play this video, and actually I can remove myself. We'll do this. Yeah. Should play the sound. No, not remove. Share. No, not video file. I did it wrong again. Hold on. Share. Oh, do I just click it?
Maybe I could.
There we go. Okay.
Please welcome this promising young star of Magic, Amanda Nepo. Hi, I'm Amanda Nepo. And when I started Magic, the first thing I learned was how to shuffle a deck of cards. It was a nice start, but I wanted to learn some Magic. So I learned a classic, pick a card trick. Allison, could you just say stop whenever? Stop. There? Would you like to change your mind? Yes. Okay. Stop. So, Allison, this will be your card. Okay. Please remember it. Now I can lose it back into the deck. But simply finding it probably won't impress you guys. So what if I found it in a really awesome way? What if I showed you one of the coolest things I can do with a deck of cards? Boom! A fan, I know, so cool, so impressive, it's insane! Penn, Teller, what do you think of that? And notice there's one card face down. If I did this right, that should be Allison's card. Allison, what was your card? 8 of Hearts. 8 of Hearts? This is the part where I take out the card to show that it's her card. But I can't. Not because it's not her card, I'm pretty sure it is. But you can only take a card out of a real deck. You see, when I first learned this, I couldn't do a card fan. And instead, I just used a printed piece of... Thankfully, I always print on both sides. There is Allison's card, the 8 of... It's actually pretty easy to make one of these.
That was
All
wild.
you need is a printed photo of a fan. You cut it out and fold it to pretend as if you're holding a fan of cards. Now, Teller, you're a skilled magician. You don't need this printed fan. But you gotta admit, it looks pretty good. But if we really wanted to finish the trick, you would have to be able to take the card out, put it back the right way, close the fan, and start shuffling. Now that I have the deck back,
That's cool.
let me
Not a
show
typical
you
card
one
trick.
of the hardest tricks known by magicians, and that is taking a mixed up deck of cards and doing something truly impossible with every single card. Watch the deck. It didn't look like much, but now the deck is in perfect order. It starts with the ace of spades, goes all the way up to the king. Same for the diamonds, the clubs, and the hearts. And look, there's one card face down. Of all the cards, between the 9 and the 7 of hearts, face down, Allison's card, the 8 of hearts. Now, that's pretty hard. It was so hard that when I first learned it, I just used a printed piece of paper. Thank you. I'm Amanda Nico, and I hope you enjoyed.
Amanda Nico!
Very cool. Very original. I love
that
it.
was so impressive.
Thank you.
And what made you decide to?
Tyler looks like he's fooled by every trick. His face is so great.
One day, I just searched up on YouTube how to do a magic trick.
And so, how long after that first video that you watched till the first trick you invented yourself?
I really started creating like my own tricks from like start to finish when I was like around 14.
So you want to be an engineer. Do you think you'll always be a magician as well?
I mean, I hope magic stays a big part of my life.
Is this gonna change the course of your engineering path? Your parents are like, no.
I mean, I don't know. I'll just do what I like and see where that takes me.
What would it mean to you if you fooled Penn and Teller?
I'm already happy to be here, and I think what's most important is that like I hope I impressed them and they enjoyed it. So I don't know. That'd be crazy.
All right, Amanda, let's see if your very inventive card magic fooled Penn and Teller. Boys.
Amanda,
Yeah.
boy, have you got a future in magic? Probably a future in anything you want. You are so good. Now, you created this routine?
Yes. Yeah.
You created it.
Mhm.
The plot of it,
The plot of it, yeah.
and how you did it.
Yeah.
And you're 16.
Yeah.
Damn! That is amazing. Really good. And, you know, many magicians that come on this show, they can't come up with one ending. You come up with 4. You know,
Yes.
4 endings to this routine. And after every one, Teller and I relaxed. We went, okay. And then there was another ending. And they all build. They all
Thank
build
you.
really nice. It's just a beautiful, beautiful routine in every way. But just because it's really creative
Okay.
and you do it really well, and just because you're only 16, and just because it's a wonderful plot, does not mean we give you a trophy. We don't give you a trophy for being 16. You don't get a trophy for coming up with a great plot and a great idea. You get a trophy for fooling us, which you did. That last thing.
I'm so jealous. Oh, Boris is still here.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Stay in
Hey, I'm still here.
We can
I haven't watched
Have
it
any,
since it was there on TV.
any last
so-
words we want as I raid out. I'm gonna stop this one. Wow, that was really cool. I'm gonna go back and watch that again for sure. I never really watched them initially to try to figure anything out, but now I'm really curious because that threw me for sure. Yeah, it's
Yes,
very
she
fun.
was. Yeah, she has this great idea of having like this, deck and fan and spread that just become like just a piece of paper, and I help her on this, just like putting all things together and making like a routine. So like the chosen card there was like no chosen count at the beginning. It's like you have to have a count chosen, and so that would be great if you can just do your fan and then be like, okay, and that's your oh yeah, I can't because it's not a real fan. It's like, oh wow, okay, first surprise, and then go back to like, what if I was a real? I mean, when I started, I couldn't do a fan, but now after like lots of hours of practice, now I can do a perfectly fan, and that's why and the deck goes back to normal. And yes, our idea, of course, just to have them bring the cards back to in order, and also at the end to have the spread, which is not a spread, it's just a piece of paper, but still she could still take the card out from the beginning, which is the 8 of hearts, which is a little extra subtlety that would not give away the ending where it's just a piece of paper, but it is.
Where's she from?
Yeah, she's from the US. Yeah, from the East Coast. Yeah. And so I've been in touch with her through Connie Boyd. Connie has this wonderful project, Women in Magic, and and I was like, you know what, I'll be more than happy to to help her and do I would say consulting, or just find a way to refine. She already had some great ideas, and she worked really hard. I mean, I shared a few ideas, and I gave him some advice, or like in timing and the structure of the act. And like in a few days, she sent me a new video, and I was like, oh my god, she applied everything and she did it so well.
Wow.
Oh gosh, she's only 60. I can't believe that. And I'm like, you know what, I believe in you. I mean, you're good. And so fingers crossed, so you get selected. And then a few weeks later, she's like, oh my god, I got selected, I'm gonna be on Foolers. I'm like, perfect, go kill them. And and she didn't tell me anything
bring her
until
my plan is to keep these going. Even after the fact of whatever happens this time with me, that I keep reviewing these and talking. So I'd love to bring her on the show. Hear talk about the act. That would be amazing.
Yeah, she's I'm sure you have a great time. So she's awesome.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna hit the raid button now and go ahead and end the stream in just a few seconds here. So we're taking the Twitch crowd over to see Corbin, a friend of mine from the virtual reality community. And as soon as that goes, of course you have to hit the button twice. So
well, good luck, Michael. Have fun.
Thank you so much. All right. And I will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. So actually, I don't even know how to, it went. So end the broadcast. Okay. And ending. I didn't see it go to Corbin, but. Oh, okay. Yeah.